Okay.
All right, good evening, everybody. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Port of Oswego Authority. This is Monday, it's November 21st, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. And let's have a call to order. We'll go around the room, starting with Bill.
Bill Scriber, Port Authority.
Diane Zeller, board member.
Stan Delia, board member.
Kitty Macy, board member.
John Carroll Smith, board member.
Connie Casamento, board member.
Fran Enright, board member. Also present in the room. Go ahead, Pat.
Pat McMahon, port employee.
Debbie Godden, port employee.
All right, great. Good to see everybody here. We survived another winter blast in Oswego. So let's start off with item number 2, which is motion 11/21/2201 to approve the minutes of October 17th, 2022 meeting, which is Exhibit A. I have a motion to move that.
I'll second it.
And second it. Okay, motion all approved, and motion passes. So next, administrative operation report, Exhibit B, and that would be Bill Scriber.
Okay, thank you. You have your operations update on the number of trucks and metric ton we moved this month. Also, good news, we got the MWBE waiver for the Global Dry Dock Marina, so we'll be starting that. And E-stock improvements, I would love to say they're almost complete, but they're not. They gotta lay the underlying stone in, cap concrete, and then asphalt. And I think this is gonna be delayed because the asphalt plant, I understand, is gonna be closing down very soon. The highway, both Pat and I went to the H2O conference. I attached a presentation I gave, had a lot of fill-in on it. I think it went very well. Pat, you got anything to add on that?
It was very educational. I got to meet a lot of different people from all over the place. It was definitely fun.
Where's this held?
It's Toronto, Canada.
So you get a lot of potential vendors that might use the port to.
Well, actually, it's a conference of all the shipping agents, ship owners, port authorities. We have it once a year in Toronto, where we kind of like intermingle. And your specific question I can answer by, we actually have a stevedoring company that we're discussing a interlake container operation with. That would not have happened without us being there. In fact, it was kind of by chance they were there, we were there, and we were kind of getting delayed on our first pick of a port, and just through talking and mingling, Pat and I were able to pin down another terminal that wanted to do the project. So now we're moving ahead with the project. We're putting out a request for a study, an operational study through the St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation. They have over $8 million in money for marketing. And I talked to the new director for the St. Lawrence Seaway, which was the former Milwaukee director that I know really well. He's positive about it. Talked to Steve Fisher of the American Great Lakes Ports Association. He was there. He actually was the catalyst between putting the two of us together to get this project started. And he's for it. So looks like now we're just, first Thanksgiving, the holidays kind of slowing us down a little bit, but we've already got positive outlook. We've got a shipping, we've got a terminal operator, we've got us. Hopefully we can put it all together. So, yeah. And these things are good because we get to kind of meet everybody once a year throughout the lakes. And I mean, it's hard just having a conference call. It's kind of like you want to meet them, talk to them, you know, stuff like that. So I attached that. By the way, I was on the American port that had any, well, it's primarily dominated by Canadian system because it is, the Great Lakes are basically dominated by the Canadian port system. I was the only American port authority director or anybody asked to speak. I went after, in the perfect position, chief economist for Royal Bank of Canada. So after everybody got really depressed. I was the uplifting part of it, I guess. So, Dr. DeGay's not here, so I'm not gonna make any jokes on economists, but all I can say is, they're actually a little bit dry. So, but that was good. So, we're, also have discussions, preliminary discussions with the Pilot Association, and a, company that wants to bring a tug into Oswego. I guess it's about a 50-50, maybe a 60-40 chance. What does this mean for us? Well, this is something I've been working on, trying to work on for 2 years. A harbor tug means that, a lot of shipping companies that would have used us but don't want to take the chance of coming to our dock without a tug assist, now will look more seriously at us. Second of all, it'll be a reduction in cost, because when we do have to get a tug for assist, we have to go to another lake to get it, which is horrendously expensive. So this is a young company, they're aggressive. I had a conference call last week with them. It's positive. They're actually in the market now looking to buy a tug. And the Pilots Association is, I have to compliment them, Captain Boyce really is behind this. He's been very good to the Port of Oswego. And just for the newer people, the Pilots Association is an association of people like captains. They pilot the vessel into the harbor. If you have like salties or foreign vessels, it's a requirement, Coast Guard requirement to bring the vessels under pilot. And these pilots work the Great Lakes, and they'll get on the ship and they'll bring it into harbor. In most cases, the larger ships need a tug assist to bring it in. So this is very important that we have the pilots supporting us, and we hopefully will have a new company bringing a tug and supporting us. Bottom line, it means more business.
As the rookie in the group, what exactly is a tug assist?
Well, what a tug assist is that when the ship comes in through the break wall, a lot of the overseas ships don't have side thrusters, which is, they're actually like a propeller in the middle of the ship with two openings. They can go left, they can go right, or create thrust to bring the ship up to dock. So what happens is these large ships don't have that capability, so they'll just start to float. So what the tug does is actually bring it in, and it'll be able to push it from the lower water into the dock so it doesn't hit hard, and bring it in softly. And also, without the thrusters, these big ocean-going vessels actually can't maneuver in the harbor, or they can't turn port starboard. So that's why you need a tug. And that's a problem with us, and has been for a number of years, because a lot of ships, a lot of projects will pass us by because we don't have a tug at a reasonable cost to bring these ships in. Now, if they get in here, we're talking about a docking arrangement with them, that they would be available, which means now it'll start becoming more, or it'll be easier for them to bring these ships in. Right now, some of these ships pass us by.
Quite a few, make a difference in.
Enough for me to work on it for the last 2 years very diligently.
Oh, wow.
Let me ask you this, I'm just throwing something out there. You know, if this tug company does not come to be, have you ever looked at purchasing a tug? Is it
Yes.
just prohibitive?
The LT5 started out that way.
Yeah, actually, the predecessor to my thoughts, I'm not the first director to think about a tug. John Fitzgibbons, who was the director, I don't know how long, but many years ago, bought the LT5 from the Army Corps for just that purpose. She was a 2,000 horsepower tug, and she was a single screw, but he bought that to have in the harbor, not as a museum exhibit. That was a working tug that the Army Corps used up in the other upper lakes. So, yeah, if anybody's been here for 5 minutes and heard me walk around and moan about we need a tug, yeah, I actually at one time was actually looking at buying a tug. I've worked with the state canal authority, and that was been a hot topic on discussions with the governor's office, is if they could help me out with cost of a tug. I've even gone to Ogdensburg and tried to see if they, well, because a tug on Lake Ontario would be just as beneficial to them as us, because there is no tug service that's home-based in Lake Ontario, except for the Canadian side, which we can't use their
That's
tugs
Canadian.
because they're under the Jones Act. So it just, there's like 40 tugs over there and we just can't. So I have thought about it, but a good tug is about 2,000 horsepower, twin screw, and about 80, 85 foot. That's about $1 million. Oh, that's about $1 million. And then we have to go through Coast Guard inspections. We gotta get a captain for it. A captain of that large, you have to have an unrestricted license. So that's very few, especially in Lake Ontario. You gotta have a crew, you gotta crew it, winter it. I mean, it would be a cost.
Yeah, it's more than just buying it.
Yeah, it's more than buying it. I don't wanna buy something, have it sit there, and then it would not be, and then we would have, even though we use it, we still have to recoup our cost. That would be a while.
Sure.
So, yeah, that scenario's been looked at. In fact, that is what I call my nuclear option. If we can't get one any other way, we're gonna have to consider buying one. But then, of course, that would be a couple, 3 years out, because you have to find the right tug, you have to get through financing, you have to line a lot of different things up to make it worthwhile. But if you are a tug captain, like this gentleman is, and you already own tugs, and you have a company, and he has other uses for it other than just here, he has a water marine construction company, it's like, this is, yeah.
So if our chances are 50-50, 60-40, why not better? Why aren't we in a better position?
He's gotta find one.
Oh, he has to.
Yes, these are not the tugs that, even, you can get a lot of old used up tugs, but you gotta have a tug like for the use here, and his use, you've gotta have one, well, probably Fran's more inept at discussing this than I am. You gotta have one that's mechanically, it's got life enough in it, you don't have to repower it, that you can start using it. Those, when you talk about the New York Harbor, they'll use those tugs right up to the last minute, then wanna access them, and you wouldn't want one. You have to repower it, you'd have to, bring her up to, there's a whole idea of the engines have to be rebuilt after so many 100 hours, 1,000 hours. Yeah, so
McAllister, the old McAllister's tug, them were 2,000 horsepower, they were 30,000, and we've been on, when I was coming into Rotterdam up there with the ships, there was 60,000 shaft horsepower tugs that bring you in. And it's all because of the wind, you come in here, you can't, you just can't take a chance up this river because you get out of this channel a little bit and there's rocks and everything else in here, so. And there's a lot to do, these guys have no maneuvering ability in here, and they have to do all the maneuvering out in the harbor and they back in, and that's where you gotta have a tug that's sitting up there, keeping those guys coming, keeping them, if you get the wind in the wrong direction, you gotta keep them spinning out and so forth, so, yeah, tug's important. Where we can get one, Bill's been looking for that for a while, but.
I was very happy that we were approached by the company, and the call ended with, I'm going to be down after Thanksgiving looking in Florida and Louisiana for a tug. Because that's where the bigger ports are, they got a lot of tugs, and you can find one reasonable, but he's looking at $1 million. So, or maybe you get one at 800,000, yeah, because I was Googling all these, I was looking at ones like 200,000 or 300,000, going, well, geez, that would be nice, but it's probably only an exhibit one because you can't use it, so, yeah.
What is the Jones Act?
The Jones Act is a United States maritime law that says that in American waters, you can only use American flag ships. So that's why in Puerto Rico, in Puerto Rico, when you had the big storm, we couldn't actually use American ships to transport stuff. We had to use American ships to transport to Puerto Rico, and they had to get a special demit from the government to use foreign ships to bring stuff in. And we're on the Great Lakes. I hate to say this, if someone's listening on the video, I'll say it. It actually depresses commerce on the Great Lakes because we're unique in the sense that Canadian ports are the majority of the ports. They have the majority of the assets, including tugs. So there's only one large tug company on the Great Lakes, and they basically hold you hostage. And you know, we're talking horrendous amount of money to bring a tug in from Erie or Michigan or Superior. It just the money is just not there to be competitive. So with the tug being here, that means less that has to be charged, more. I mean, if the tug is here, then you're going to get ships that are, instead of going to Albany or going to Erie, now the argument can be made they can come here and bring the cargo. So, and I've been at the cutting edge of that argument more than once. So, anything else? I'll just go with comprehensive training. All of you be prepared, there's brand new comprehensive training, ethics training, that I have to give you all. Yeah, apparently I'm the ethics officer because no one wants it.
Is this something after this year, after when it starts
It's brand-
January, or can we start?
You can do it after the year, yeah, because they don't even know what they're doing. I took training on it. It's gonna be very similar to the training you've already had. All I have to do now is wait till they bring a website up that I can post it, but I was figuring after the holidays, if you could come like a little bit earlier at a meeting, I can just do everybody, and then I get to do the check off on it.
So this isn't, we did something back in July when I first came on board. This isn't it.
It is it.
But it's a
It's
new
the
one.
same
It's
thing.
a new one.
New one. They
But it's
keep
a new one.
improving.
It's a new, they
New
got
and
rid of,
improved.
they got rid of Jacob, and
Yeah.
they created a new Stakes and Lobbying Commission. Well, whatever you did before, it was gonna not count for these new people, though it's the same training.
Yeah.
So,
Training two.
New York.
so I'm the one losing my hair and getting gray over all these new requirements that I have to train. But if you did the last group, it's gonna be almost 99% the same. So you'll just hear me speak faster. DME contract, break wall is on there for your review.
Nice.
And that's all I have, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have the administrative financial reports. This is Exhibit A and Exhibit B. I'll give you a couple minutes to look over this. Tom's not here, but usually he would say something on this, but take a look at it. And, because then the next motion, of course, we're going to have to, acceptance of reports.
Well, if you want, I can say a little bit about them.
Okay?
We're ahead of budget. The items we're 94% on budget, and that's last month. So we're gonna hit budget projections, I hope, in almost every area. I will caution you that this was a record year. When Debbie does the numbers at the end for our audit, I think this will prove to be probably the largest revenue that we've ever experienced before.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing
Except
and
for
bad
next
thing,
year, now you got,
because you're gonna want it to happen next year, it's not happening. So we're gonna have a good year next year, but we're not gonna have this year.
Spectacular.
Yeah, so I mean, we're ahead of everything. Everyone's done a fantastic job here, all the way from my office staff, Pat, Debbie, Meg. If I'm not gonna say everybody because I'll miss somebody. The ILA, everybody has worked very hard to make this happen. And I'll tell you, it was a great team effort this year. And we are showing the financial gains for it. So,
Now, you mentioned, I made some notes here. It's like 94% above,
but it's 94%
Of
of
projected.
budget.
yeah.
Budget's 100, we're at 94 now. We have till March
Yes,
31st to make budget, so it's gonna be well, it's kinda like a miler who just got an 800-yard lead on everybody. He's gonna just slack off at the end. We're gonna make it.
the only things I saw, and I know this must fluctuate quite a bit, everything was great on each line item, except for storage and mortgage, they were down a little bit,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, storage is, usually most of our storage is aluminum. And we have not received as much aluminum this year as we would normally receive. And it's been going out quicker. I mean, you bring it in and then they take it, so we don't get the storage.
Sure.
We get the transport and delivery fees that we make, which is bumped up on that line, you'll see. However, the storage drops. They were here, when, Pat, a week and a half ago?
Yes.
Novellus? Novellus was here a week and a half ago, and the one comment was, oh, you guys need more aluminum. Yes, we know that, if you're gonna make it. That's why that ship's out there with 15,383 pieces.
64.
64, yeah.
64? Okay, I was off by.
It's all right.
Hey, you're
okay.
close.
Well, you know, if it was money, I'd be really close. We put it in our
We
hands
just
for
round
pocket
up.
change. That, and then we have another one coming after that. So they're now trying to go up it, so.
You don't have many more vessels coming in the rest of the year, do you?
Hell yeah. We have right now, I love to say that, we have right now a ship in the port of Sorel waiting, a grain ship waiting to come in. Because this, obviously, we could not unload that in a snowstorm. At 3 o'clock, we accessed off to labor. Pat and the rest of the guys could not keep the dock clear. They broke a crane, and they have one crane at 25% less efficiency, which means the crane can't turn and pick the aluminum. So this has been a ship from hell. They're starting at midnight to do it. Hopefully we'll have this done by when?
Within 24 hours.
24 hours, and then we have a grain ship coming to the dock to load grain, around 7,000 metric ton, give or take 10%. Hopefully that's done by Thanksgiving.
Then you have the potash ship coming
Then we have a potash ship, which is from Thunder Bay, that is gonna have to wait and anchor out there somewhere, I don't care where, until the grain ship's done for them to come in. Okay?
And then,
We're a busy port.
in. And then you have one more ship.
I
after
really
that.
don't think the city realizes the impact that we are having in the general upstate area with the number of ships. I mean, we're not on Ogdensburg, you know, we're a real, in the last few years, we're a real functioning, busy port.
When the potash comes in, then where does it go?
It'll go in Dome 3, near Dome 4. And it's a self-unloader, so we only actually need 2 people here. It'll just pull up along the dock. Like I said, this is all mathematics. They'll bring it's a conveyor, a huge conveyor, bigger than our conveyor out there. Self-unloader, it'll go over the top of the dome, they open up the thing, and they just start feeding it in.
And then when does that go out? Where does it go to when it leaves?
It goes, what, I mean the ship or the potash?
Potash.
Potash is a fertilizer they use in upstate New York for crop production. We are the #1 potash distributor in upstate New York. We're #1.
So who purchases it in the end? Farms?
Farmers.
And do you have a distributor that takes care of that, or?
We lease, we're not a transporter. Actually, there's a company, which I forget,
Nutrient Ag.
Nutrient Ag, yes, thank you. They used to be called Crop Production Services. I've been here almost 14 years, so it's burned in my brain. They are the agent that handles it, so they sell it, we load it, transport it, bring it in, and store it. That's our job. We don't get involved with the marketing of it.
Do you ever get caught up in the inventory coming in, how much supposedly came off of the boat? Then does the distributor ever say this place?
No, we have a contract. Actually, on the belt and the conveyor, they'll actually give us a reading of it. And we've been doing it so long, we know exactly what the domes can handle. But what we get is we get an ocean, or not ocean, we get a bill of lading. My former, when I was a forwarder, that was ocean. This is lake. We get a bill of lading. The ship will actually give us what they gave us in there, and the company will verify that. We have no way of metering what comes in on a bulk product. They're responsible, the shipping company, for delivering the amount. And if there's any argument, then that argument's between the ship and the customer, not us.
Good.
Well, you guys are really
Well, you're-
asking me a lot today.
All right, so,
We're ahead of budget, it's a good thing. I'll end by saying that.
all right, so what we're gonna do, what I usually do, is we have the motion 11212202, which is to accept the primary financial reports, and also motion 11212203 to accept the subsidiary financial reports. Okay, so this is for both motions here, the primary and the subsidiary. So it's 2202 and 2203, and I'll need somebody to move it.
Second.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, now we're on to the chairman's report. So, first of all, I got a call from Dr. Morgan, who's on the board for the H.D. White Museum. And he reached out to me, and he reached out to Bill and the rest of the board. They're having a, well, it's to honor the 40 years that the lighthouse has been there, plus the, they're honoring the Coast Guard who lost their lives. There's the 6 Coast Guardmen that lost their lives out there at the lighthouse back 80 years ago. So this is going to be happening December 4th, and it's from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Lake Ontario Conference Center. And there's an RSVP if you would like to go to this. And this is either by email to mercedes@hlwmm.org or by phone. And it's a 315-481-6954. So you're all invited to attend if you would like to. And they've got the invitations out to everybody, you know, congressmen, and, you know, they got Barkley, and mayor, and who knows all else is going to be there, the college.
What was the phone number again?
It's the 315-481-6954. And Doc Morton is the one who reached out to me, and he's throwing this thing. So in case, you know, they don't realize that the whole board is invited, they are. Because he personally called me and invited.
And where is this supposed to be?
This is at the conference center over here. At the Oswego, the Lake Ontario Conference Center.
That's what, right down that way?
It's Broadway.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
it's gonna be over there at where the bar is outside with the overhead garage door area,
Oh,
so
great,
it's gonna be over there,
outside,
I
okay.
believe. So anyhow, Roland Blake, so that's the first item. Second item is the city of Oswego. And you know that we reached out to them for about our easement. And you know the details on this, about our water line and the piece of property up there. And I heard absolutely nothing. We contacted our attorney, Micah, and he contacted Caracoli from the city, and I still heard nothing, because I was going to meet with him. It was something to do with me and possibly Connie, the two of us, to go over there and talk to him about any issues we may have. And there was nothing until really after the election. Not sure if that had anything to do with it, but and then there was a letter that was sent to us that was going over all of the, what's the name of that document?
Local waterfront development.
The local waterfront development plan. They were quoting that, and again, it had to do with Dome 4 in this, which we really can't talk about. It's under litigation, so it's a non-discussable item, but our attorney is made aware of it. So at this point, I don't know what else to do. I to reach out to on this, so I'm just going to keep on plugging forward. Hopefully, that I can sit down and talk to him. So that's really all I have to say on my report. But then we're going to roll right into next would be the executive committee report, and which is the executive committee. If you're not aware, again, that is Raja Begay, it's Connie, and it's myself. And we had a special meeting of the executive committee to discuss the Arcadia project, which, as you are aware, was that solar project that we talked about on our property that's out east by the Novellus Welcome Center there. And Bill was also present at that meeting. And after some discussion, we had the feedback that we got from our attorney, who read over this whole proposal. And so after discussion, their comments, plus a few of our own comments on what our concerns were, we decided that we didn't want to pursue this anymore. One of the things I'm concerned, we have a lot of irons in the fire right now too, and I really want to wrap up our Dome 4. I really want to wrap up our RV park. I really want to see us progress in some other dealings that we're having, and this did not seem the right time or the right venture for the port, and so that was our recommendation, was not to proceed in that, and that's done. Okay, so if anyone reaches out to you and has asks any comments, just refer
Already
them.
have, there's other people that have reached out to me already.
Okay, well, if they do, just refer them back to me. I prefer you not to speak on these issues, that you just refer any comments back to the board chair.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I remind everybody that this board made that decision around 2010, but the board speaks in one voice, and that's the chair. So
Well-
when people ask me things, I refer them to.
And the thing is that I'm not gonna make a decision without
Right.
discussing this with the board.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
But there's a lot that's going on, a discussion I'm having with Bill, I'm talking with the executive committee on here, before we even get to that point. And sometimes the people are a little bit impatient, and they're trying to jump the gun, or they may be lobbying a little bit, for whatever. So that's why I say, just refer it back to me, and then if
Yeah.
there is any questions on what they've asked, then I'll definitely inform you on why and what the reasons were, and where we're going, what information we have that we're working on. So that's why I just prefer it to go that way. So anyhow, with that, I don't have any more on that for our executive committee. That was the one meeting we didn't have. And Tom's not here for audit and finance, and we were supposed to have a meeting here earlier today, but a few people couldn't make it, so we're going to postpone that until everybody can be present. And next, we have all my favorite governance committees.
Thank you. Assuming that Diane and Connie would agree to this, what is on my agenda now is to, one, get the email address of our lawyer from Debbie, and to talk to him about policies that we need in terms of compensatory time, and on the issue of the port providing insurance for former port employees' spouses. because we've talked about that in committee and elsewhere for some time. But I need to contact a lawyer and have him write it out in some way so that it's a policy and bring it back to the board that we can vote on and have it as a new policy. Okay?
Yes.
Diane, what is your email address? I've got Diane Zeller at oswego.edu.
There's a dot in it.
What?
Diane dot Zeller.
Oh, that's what happened. No dot, okay. It's Diane dot Zeller. I'll put a little dot, at oswego.edu. All these dots, okay. Thank you. That's it.
That's it.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay, and Planning and Development Committee, Rajat's not here. You might be able to talk a little bit, Bill could probably talk about the marina, and they're part of our development and what's going on, and our planning, maybe if we have any, what we're planning for our current marina we have over here. We talked a little bit about having a study done, either using CNS Engineering or a similar firm to take a look at what we have here, our demographics on that marina, and come up with for the best layout, for the best usage and the most revenue stream that we could get from the space that we have. And I think that's critical that we take a look at this because, as you know, we are the first marina that's right off of Lock 8, and we're the gateway coming and going on this lake. We got lots of boats that come through here, and a lot of boats that bypass us and go other places. Okay, and I think it's time that we take a good hard look at how we can capture some of that revenue that just blows by us, you know, and so, and Bill's looking into it, you know, we're looking at different things, and it's not simple. We've got a lot of infrastructure issues. We have some of that road is caving in. We have, but in the same note, I think we have some big pieces of equipment over there that is critical. There are single point failures that we used to come up with in the power business, and that we have one that is a critical single point failure over there. That it's time to breathe some new life in that. But before we just get single-minded on this, let's look at the whole picture and see. Maybe this is, you know, we're approaching a time we can get the upgrade that this marina desperately needs. I want to look at that marina also as a source of income stream that, like we just had with this COVID happening. And what happened when COVID hit is everybody turned towards recreation, and they're all boats. You couldn't get a slip on Lake Ontario. And thank goodness we had the foresight to put in floating docks that we had. We were the only marina that was open for business with the high water that came through because we had floating docks. We built it right. So I want to continue on with that thought and look at what we have and improve on what we have, and even canvass some of the boaters, see what they need down there, and turn this into a really first-class marina that's right here, and it's got the state's name report so that people are going to be stopping here, staying here. And really, this goes along with what we want to do, is we'd be spreading the business throughout the town and the rest of the community, the stores. We have Broadwell's Hotel right next door that people would love to come and stay if they have the facilities and can do something. They'd have work done on their boats here instead of taking it elsewhere. That's what I want to see. I want to see this place be the Hinckley Yard down in Florida. I want Oswego to be that place, because the revenue that we could generate from that is not tens of thousands. You know, it's millions, it's
So are you
millions.
talking about the marina over here?
This marina right here, okay?
It's underutilized right now?
It's very much underutilized. It's underutilized not so much in the fact that we have docks and we have commercial fishing boats, and we have a great fueling dock. Bill has done step by step with resources that he has. I gotta say, he's done a wonderful job in building the new docks and getting the new fueling dock over here and getting new docks put in. I mean, all these things take time, and I understand that, and it's been those efforts. But I think it's time that we focus on the hardware, the boat lifts, the thing. We have a big building over there that I think is underutilized. That could be turned into a boat racking system. That is, they just don't have one here. You know, it's not just here. It's pretty much on the Great Lakes around. It's all inland, you know, where people have to take their boats. So we want to look at that, and I think the best way to do it is what Bill brought up, is let's have like a CNS engineering people do a study and see a feasibility study on just what we're talking about, and come back with something that we can use now, that feasibility study, that we offer grants and so on, but we have a plan in place. We're looking at going forward, we're looking for another revenue stream that in case we do get hit by anything again, and we're not getting the ships in here, and we have a COVID scare, we're still getting revenue streams that we can carry on a little bit more easier. Well, that was all our planning, you know, process, and I think, really, I think Bill's done a good job. I mean, I do gotta say, it was like pulling teeth in the beginning, but I think he was just pulling my leg. I know he's been working behind the scenes, trying to get these negative lifts and looking at different things like that. So, you know, it's a work in progress.
And to answer your question, we're not underutilized, we're overutilized. We have a waiting list over there right now. That's why we're building another marina. People want to come to the Oswego Authority marinas. So we have quiet, clean, effective marinas, and they're deep water, which is very important.
So you're pretty much at capacity right now?
We're over capacity.
Okay.
We're not at capacity, we're over capacity.
The issue.
What we need to do is that was originally never designed to be a marina. It was a port authority up there in Picture Wall. No one's ever taken a hard look and said, how do we arrange it? I mean, it's almost been like, you know, we'll put this here, we'll put wherever it fit. Well, you can't do that and be efficient, you know? That's why we're having issues on our dock here with where our buildings are, and like Dome 4, you know, you can't put it everywhere, you only got so much land. So what we have discussed is that it is really, we did a performing arts center study. Why don't we study the marina? And it really is, we have a building over there that is the last transit shed at the port. It takes up, it's really, the floor is falling apart. It's not, it looks nice, but it's not a nice building. And it's eating up a lot of space. We have, I think, the necessity to do some sheet pile driving and parts of the marina, because what's happened is it was built in the old way of building the slips, earthen with wood, and even though they put a little bit of sheet pile, it's all giving way, they're sucking down, it's listing. So that means, so really, you know, everybody's got an opinion, but, you know, that's why you hire someone, a third party detached, to go look at it and say, okay, if you do this, 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 and this, you can realize another 20% revenue or 30% revenue. Can have, maybe our lift is in the wrong place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe that's in a, maybe it would be more efficient to do it this way. Maybe the gas tanks are in the wrong place. Who knows? But they'll come in, they'll superimpose over a plan on that, and more importantly is that studies don't just make us all feel good. They're a way that we can apply for grants.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you need a plan, you need a cost, and that's 90% of a grant application. What do you wanna do, how's it gonna affect the community, and how much is it gonna cost? Oh, geez, all I have to write now is a narrative and sign my name, I'm done. So that's what we need a study for.
I mean, the thing is, yeah, I mean, we're booked, but the bigger issue on this is that you have boats that we just can't service here, they're too big. Now, they're not that big, but they're bigger than we can take a pickup with our lift. And we have boats here all the time that come through that have a prop, that hit a log or something come down. We can't do anything about it. They have to take this boat up towards, Sodas, or they have to take it up to Sackett's Harbor in order to get a travel lift up there so they can pick it up. I mean, just something as simple as that. You have to pull these boats out of the water. It's not an easy process. It should be. We should have a means here to be able to service these bigger boats. There is tremendous amount of money in boat storage here that isn't being utilized. They have boat racking systems. How many people have their boats sitting out there along Oswego County or in the garage taking up space that the wife's minivan ought to be in, and they would do anything if they could have that boat into a reasonably priced storage, and that's where the boat racking system comes in.
You have storage there now.
We have storage in here, but it's not the storage we want.
No.
Okay, we have utilized the north end of the warehouse for storage. We've utilized the Merrill building when not in operation for storage. But, and I hate to admit it, Fran may have a good idea. We probably would be easier to go towards a rack system that he's been hounding me for years on, because then you go up, not this way. But then again, we gotta place it in the right position. You gotta have it, and this is the whole thing. None of us are gonna sit down and our engineers or architects are gonna try to design this. We need to look at a traffic flow, parking, what is optimum building. By the way, we already added 12 slips to the marina. 3 years ago, ready?
Right.
Yeah, we replaced, there were docks that weren't there now, that are there now, that weren't there 3 years ago.
Right, and that's
So I mean, and we,
$2,300 a piece.
yeah,
For the residential sailors, and for commercial,
How much is that?
it's $2,300 for the
a year.
for a year for a slip. But that's not the commercial. The commercials are almost twice that, if not twice that, for the commercial fishing boats,
So
charters.
we added 12 slips. We went back to the original plan of the marina, because over years, no one had replaced slips. So we put in money for Ready several years ago. I don't even remember what Ready is anymore, because it's been done and over with so many. But it was when Governor Cuomo was here, he gave money to create the water damage, increase tourism, and one of the 5 projects, the Global Dry Dock of Marina is the last of our 5 projects. One project was to put to put back 12 slips over there, which we did. So our marina is now at 100% build out. And in fact, Tammy and Steve done a wonderful job over there. They've even added a few non-powered, non-electric docks on the very end that have brought in a few boats. But
Four extra boats in
yeah,
there. That
so the whole thing is, honestly, this is not easy. If we get a plan, we very well may have to take and expand it a little bit. There's a lot of different ideas, and I really think that type of look at it will help. I mean, we're repairing docks here and upgrading docks here at the end over there. Why do we do it? We do it because A, it needs to be done, and 2, because our customers require a facility that's marketable and safe and can accommodate their needs. And the marina is the same way. Though the marina is a small part of our revenue, but it's a big I should say, appearance to the community. People see ships here and it doesn't calculate, that means jobs and economy. I don't know, there seems to be with many people in the community, they don't make that connection, that, because we're down here. The marina, my God, if you got a boat down there, it's like, wow, this is the greatest thing in the world. So it's kind of like a PR for us, but it does make money and we need to expand it.
Well, the bottom line, if you got a 23-foot boat, a 25-foot boat, and you can store it here, you can, at a price that is comparable, if it's $1,500, $2,000 for the season, and then you get a break if you store it for the winter, and then you're gonna also get the maintenance that has to be done to the motor when it gets winterized, and then you're gonna get the fuel that you're gonna sell. That whole big plan, now you take a boat racking system to go up, and you can take 100 boats. 100 boats, we could probably do twice that without a problem, but take 100 boats, and you multiply that times 2,000, plus you add another, say, 10% factor onto the selling the fuel in there. That's a significant amount of income that we just got coming over here,
Sure.
And take that money and dump some of that money back into the marina every year. Now we upgrade in travel lifts, we start getting our bathrooms upgraded on the other side that we don't have. We get laundry on the other side that makes it easily accessible to the people.
This side.
Because it's split, everything is split over here. So I see that we start down this road, we're gonna have an absolutely fabulous marina now. And that's what I'd like to see, is this turned into that. Because of our location, I just can't see of any other marina that is here that has this great of a location. 1,700 boats come down through here every year and pass by here. I mean, we are the ones where most of these people want to store with us. They want to be here. They don't want to take it up to those locks and store it up in Brewerton. They want to be here because in the summer, they want us to be able to put right in. They can go over to Canada. Most of them are Canadians. They'd love it if we had a facility here to do it. So that's what I'm talking with Bill about, is hoping we can ease into something like that.
We're always gonna be limited to a degree by the footprint we have.
By the space.
We can build out to a degree, and that's what an engineering study and architectural study will do. Give us the maximum we could do. But I don't think we're gonna, and honestly, if anything, I would go to bond on, meaning borrow money to a bond system. I would do it for a marina, only because there, you can actually say, with X number more storage, we get X number revenue, which we could then time out into the bond. Everything else is kind of, we do, there, I see a business purpose and a business plan that we actually can do it. There's certain things we're not gonna get money back on. I mean, in fact, on the wall up by Broadwell's, they have boating things. Most of those people try to get into our marina for the bathroom, the laundry, all the shit. And it has nothing to do with us on the wall. Cities lease that to us, but there's no facilities there. They try to come to our marina for facilities, so.
We have laundry facilities.
We have laundry, bathroom, shower facilities on our side. It's on the other side, yeah.
Are there other amenities that would be helpful, shuttle service, a market?
Wait, Diane, don't
Yeah.
get the cart before the horse.
Yeah. Well,
I'll tell you,
I'm
I'm
just
working at it.
curious.
I'm working at it.
We do,
I'm
actually.
just curious about what kind of amenities.
You can, whatever your imagination, you want to let your imagination run, yeah. We could have a bus come down here and pick up people coming through. We could have a concert out here welcoming everybody come through. There's all sorts of
I don't know
stuff.
where you're gonna put the concert.
But we first gotta get the
Or north
facility
side.
built. We gotta get the infrastructure.
this side,
I
we
know
have no wall.
that, I know
Yeah,
that.
we have to get that done. I think once we get some of those things in here, especially if we get into the racking systems and utilizing that other building, that all those things can happen.
If we cap, this is something that I was gonna talk to the engineering, the RV park is part of the marina. And if we don't utilize all the spaces, like we cap it at, let's say, 12, we still have property adjoining the park that could be utilized for other purposes. Like his movies or whatever. So I mean, but we're kind of boxed in here because of the way we are. If, the one thing we learned in Toronto, right, Pat, is that every port on the Great Lakes has a land issue. Because what's happened is everybody has moved near the airport. And now they complain about the airplanes. So, I mean, you have a port, you built a port out, then everybody built around the port, and now the port can't expand, and it's create, you know, certain people will never be happy with what you do. But, you know, for us, that's what we got, that's why we're building Global Dry Dock Marina, because can't put another 25 slips down here, go do it over there. But Fran is right, I mean, there are opportunities that I think that we are, 43 North over Burton, is, they're going, some of my revenue's going up the canal. So maybe we need to capture some of that revenue. Our lift system over there is 1960s vintage.
Pretty antiquated.
Yeah, I mean, so that's gotta be replaced. And the docking system over there is, the water, definitely needs to be upgraded. So we got a lot of, we either can do this little Band-Aid project, we call it Band-Aid projects, or we can just simply say, no, stop it, find a plan, and just boom, do it all at once.
Band-Aid projects always cost more
Yes.
in the long run.
And less efficient. Do we need, what kind of an engineering, is there a particular engineering
Well, that,
service?
I'm gonna bring to the board, I don't know what committee I'll bring it to, probably governance. An RFQ for an engineering firm. We're getting to the point where we need to have, we've always had like this one engineering firm we've dealt with for a number of years, but we need to go out with an RFQ, request for qualifications, to get like a period of time, like 2 or 3 year, so we don't have to go to bid every time we have a good idea and want somebody to go look at it. That's what I'm trying to put together now is an RFQ. I probably should have it done in, this is what, November? I probably should have it done in December, which I would probably send out to you and get your feedback, but I'm gonna put an RFQ out, and then you'll get a recommendation on a engineering firm. RFQ is different than RFP. I mean, RFQ is request for qualifications.
Okay.
Request for qualifications is that I don't know exactly if I'm buying this pen or this phone. That would be a bid if I was gonna make a determination on one of the two. I don't know that. We don't know that. A request for qualifications is finding a firm that could fit, engineering firm that could fit with us and be knowledgeable of the areas that we want to cover. Marina, docks, stuff like that, rail. And then we don't have to go out every time we wanna do a project. They could do the project for us because we already have an outstanding request for qualifications. And we give them a contract for, usually how it'll work is they give us a set cost on certain things like our engineer, administrative assistant, all that stuff, okay? So they would say, okay, we would do this study, okay? That would be a set cost, we'd have a sheet that we would do. But more importantly, can they do everything? Check off, can they do rail? Can they do docks? Can they do marinas? Can they do rack systems? Can they do, you know, all those things they have to have some expertise in, because the one thing you don't want is hire an engineering firm and say, oh, I gotta go hire another engineering firm to do the marina, because we don't have anybody in-house to do the marina. But we want a firm that can do everything we do, so that we can just go to one person, kind of like our law office. You know, we have a law office that does everything. So you go to that one person, and then he says, okay, I'm not a real estate expert, go in our firm with that person. I'm not a litigation expert, but we have one law office. We don't have, like, every time we need to go do something, we don't go get another law office.
So you think there is such an engineering firm?
Oh, there's several.
Many
Absolutely.
to choose from.
There's, in Syracuse, there's several, and one thing I think I would make very paramount in it is they've gotta be accessible, and they've gotta be, have an office close. Because the one thing I don't wanna do is have a lot of calls, and, you know, I need to reach out and talk to someone. Or maybe they need to come here. I mean, how do you know what we wanna do unless you go stand on the dock and say, this is what we wanna do,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think I missed anything about the green today, Pat.
No, we just, like Bill said, we just gotta look at doing some upgrades soon.
Yeah, well, we've had this discussion all year long, so it's nothing new, but I just want to let your board know that I've been all over this.
Mhm.
And speaking of improvements of the port, I just want to say, and I try to say it often, that to have a performing arts center would be a wonderful achievement here. And I know that would be an improvement, I know it would do wonderful things for the area. And I just thought, as we're talking about improvements, I thought I'd talk about that one as well.
Well, you
even
know
though I
that-
know it's a few years
You
ahead.
know, I think that, to me, would just put Oswego on the map.
Yeah.
Not just, I mean, it would be a destination.
Yeah.
that, for really the whole East Coast, if not nationwide.
Yeah.
Because of our location. We got some logistic things we'd have to work out, but I think now after the election, I think it's time that we start putting out the feelers again and just seeing if we have any interest. And we got the study,
Yeah,
and so I think if anybody hasn't seen the study and they want to be involved in this whole promotion of this Performing Arts Center, they ought to look at the study. Because there's a lot in there, a lot of real good information. It's getting dated now because it is a few years old, but it's still pretty true to form. And that could be something we could talk about.
yes.
That's my question, just kind of out
And,
of left field in regard to that. And I know I'm getting the cart before the horse here, but has anybody had any conversations about the impact of Micron on what we're doing here?
Well, the impact of Micron it'd be just tenfold in our favor for what we've already done. I mean, they weren't even in the picture when we were discussing this, and now you're talking, 50,000 good-paying jobs in a community that's right within the triangle that we talked about between Syracuse, Watertown, and Rochester, that right fits the bill for the need. And there's nothing here. There's just nothing here. Everybody has to go there in order to do it. Yet we have the beautiful sunsets. We have Lake Ontario sitting right here, and we also have the land on the water. But as you know, we have to look at that real hard when we go talking about using our waterfront property and what we're going to use it for and what the impact is and what our revenue is going to be. Because as you can see, things change quickly, and we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot on this, but yeah, I want to look at it. We got the museum that is there, that building that's getting old, and its location, that whole pier out there. So that's all in the mix, and what we've talked about in planning and development and having our little boating or maritime center down there. So I think that all fits into that plan. I'd like to talk about this again at another meeting and come up with a little bit more defined plan on how we're going to do this.
But to take off on your question of Micron, if you listen to the news reports, one of the reasons that Micron came to Onondaga County was the Port Authority. That was on the news. And second of all, I've already had discussions with the people building out the big $20 billion plant. I don't think people realize you can't bring some of this equipment in on trucks and you don't wrench it on site. It's like the nuclear power plant, when you have something that large, it comes by ship, it's foreign built, the air handlers, the huge transformers and other items. Those would come in through the port and do the short shoot up there. So, no, I don't think we're gonna be storing, chips here, but, I mean, you're talking about a decade of building a large, heavy construction project. The port has 2 concrete facilities, has an asphalt facility. The port takes stuff, big stuff off, puts it on big special trucks, and hopefully gets up East First Street. So, I mean, those things Micron looked at, and those are very important, because you just don't get those, you don't get them in Rochester, you didn't get them in Buffalo, but you got them here, because, I hate to say it, right across the river is where they're gonna be getting the concrete. Right across the river is where they're gonna get their asphalt. So, I mean, and right here is where they're gonna be able to get those big, huge pieces of equipment they need to build over the next decade into, I'm pointing up the road here, 41 is the short trip to go.
I'm hoping that at some point, somebody starts talking about a commuter route, between the port and Syracuse, because it picks up all of that. If people can travel back and forth quickly and efficiently.
Well, if you'd like to get on that, start making some phone calls, Diane.
I'm ready on it. But that would be a massive amount of money.
I know, we've had this discussion.
I know.
We've had this
But
discussion.
I'm hoping that maybe with as much as they're talking about what Micron's gonna bring in, that it becomes something more desirable to people.
Definitely would be a big boost to the realty market here and all around, all of a sudden, because these places are gonna be now very, and people looking for new places to live. Back and forth.
Sold my house, moved to
I wanna
waterfront
move
property
ahead.
somewhere else.
I wanna move on to end this meeting, so I'm on item number 7, which is old business. We have none, so I'm gonna move on to item 8, which is new business. Okay, new business, this is motion 11/21/2204, resolution to approve the video conferencing policy, Exhibit D. And, Smitty, did you get a chance to look at that video policy?
Yes, it seems fine, yes,
It's pretty straightforward,
yes.
so,
I'll move it.
need a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, motion passes. Okay, we have, motion 11/21/2205, resolution to approve the lobbying policy.
This seems pretty straightforward as well.
Okay, any questions, anybody have any questions on that?
No, I'll move it.
I have a second.
Second.
Okay, a second for Diane. All right.
I have a quick question, just dawned on me with the passing of the last election. I know that we can't, put signs up in our yards and things like that. Does our position on the board impact, political comments or things like that made on
No,
social media?
Well, I told him the ethics officer, you can put a little sign up in your yard. That's your First Amendment right. You just cannot be a member of a political, you can be a member of a political party, you can't be an officer of the political party. So, yes, you can make comments, as long as you don't make comments as the board, you don't say, I'm a board member of the, as an individual, you still have the First Amendment right.
Well, good time to know that, because I didn't put any signs up in my yard this year.
Well, the new ethics training, we're gonna cover that, and I'll be able to
Every-
go over all this.
Every time I post something on Facebook, I'm like a little bit skittish about what I should do.
Well, I mean, the ethics, what ethics are doing in the case of the state is that you should not have a conflict of interest in your position, and that the new what J code form, what our law says, under public officers law, is you as a appointment of the governor on an authority board, you cannot be an officer of a political party.
Okay.
Outside of that, you have a right to donate, you have a right to put a sign up in your yard, you have a right to sign a petition, not carry a petition,
Not carry,
sign a
yeah.
petition.
Yeah.
And you can express your opinion as long as you don't take that opinion as a member of the board. Diane Zeller can say anything she wants on Facebook, she just can't say board member Diane Zeller, that's all.
Uh, People on Jacob don't have much of a sense of humor. They contacted me about this very issue and said, well, you can't carry petitions, you can't do it. I said, well, can I vote? She said, oh, sure, you can vote. I said, I'm from Chicago, can I vote early and often? She said, no, just once. So I thought she'd laugh a little bit.
No, they don't.
No, they don't laugh.
Hey, I got warned for posting about a dog that needed to be rehomed, and, but heads up, you need to be neutered. Apparently, you can't say that on Facebook.
But you could have said it on the new state lobbying and ethics board, because I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Okay, so we have a motion,
Should've said
11/21/2205, a resolution to approve the lobbying policy. Okay? You have somebody move that? I'm not sure if we had them
Yeah,
already.
we have
All right.
Stan and Diane.
Okay, opposed? Nobody opposed, motion passes. Okay, motion 11/21/2206. This is a resolution to authorize the executive director to sign the lease agreement with Crowd Leasing Fund 1 LLC for the specified property on 91 Mitchell Street, Oswego, New York.
That's where we were stirring the wind blades. There's litigation, so it went from the present owner, the judge basically ordered this company to receive our payments. I just need your okay so I can sign checks to send to them instead of the landlord.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. And anyone opposed to that? Okay, motion passes. Now, motion 11/21/2207, resolution to appoint Constance Casamento as the employer plan administrator with the administrative committee of the ILA fund. Connie, do you have anything to say about that?
I
On
probably
camera?
will in the future.
Vote on it quick, or she changes her mind.
Oh,
So
right.
moved. Okay,
Second.
Okay. Anyone
She's
opposed?
in. No.
Seeing none, motion passes.
I
Great
don't know
job,
if she's opposed. but
don't hold it against me later. You never know.
All right.
Just pray for me.
Discussion of proposal for the Metropolitan Signs Incorporated for creating a new LED sign to the face of the administration warehouse building. Exhibit G.
Okay, I'm gonna have Pat go over this, but the only thing I will say is that there has been a discussion and this is too big,
I know.
by within the internal staff.
I mean, we aren't under the jurisdiction.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
I
in
know.
the sense of it being,
Okay.
and you know, if we reduce the size, it'll reduce the cost. You know, I mean, I go to my finance manager, Debbie, and we can afford this. We can afford this.
Yes.
We used to have, come on up to the table, Pat, I want you on the camera. We want to see your lovely smiling face. Is that we used to have, when I got here, this big, non-lit, but they were like brass letters that said Port of Oswego. I'm not gonna say what director, not this one, took the sign down, and we don't know what happened to it. Actually, that was a couple years ago. I had everybody and their brother tearing every inch of this place up, trying to find it. We can only assume someone found a home for the brass that we didn't know about. Well, I don't know. But we didn't have cameras back then, I could tell you what happened to them. So, we've been discussing over and over and over again that we don't have a front sign. And then I said, okay, we'll have a company build it, and it was just a metal light. So eventually Pat went out and reached out to this company. He got this company, you know, proposing this, and the guy came, he did all the thing, and I'll just turn it over to Pat. You go ahead and carry on from here.
Well, just like Bill said, you know, I didn't know I was gonna be doing this, or I would have thought of it. But,
Don't wear a tie.
Metropolitan sign did come down. Bill and I talked to him. This was the smaller of the two signs. It's all made out of steel. I mean, you'll definitely see it from anywhere we go.
Looks like the building needs to be painted.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, the building needs, the building needs more than
Paint.
paint.
It needs to be knocked down to the new
It could
building.
be, yeah.
So we're gonna put a sign up on a building that has to get knocked down.
We can take the sign down there for
Yeah,
Richard.
you can
Okay.
relocate it to the next building.
Did you get bids from other companies, inquirers?
No, because there's only like one company that does everything around the Syracuse area. This company's done the Syracuse airport. They've done almost all the building. He came in, Sherman-Williams, Big Lots. This is really the only company that does LED signs in the area.
You really do quite a good job.
And that he constructs this. This is all, tell him about how he constructs it.
It's all handmade, and throughout the production of the sign, he said that anybody, us, the board, wanted to go up there and kind of watch the sign being made. It goes step by step, people can show up.
Is this lighted?
Yeah.
So
It's LED lit.
somebody is going to inspect this before they put it up?
Yes.
Okay, and also the LED units that he puts in here, he's used in a number of other signs, and they're not the cheap ones, they're I guess the top quality ones. So they're not, they're gonna last the life of probably the building.
And what is the warranty for how long?
What's it? So what, it's right at the bottom, like the power supply is a 1-year parts and labor warranty, full of 1 year. So we give like a year, there's a 5-year warranty on the acrylic. So each piece has a different warranty factor.
Very long warranty on the acrylic, is it?
Kind of, you know, all of the UV stuff, they won't go 10 to 20 years, anything like that.
On signs are difficult, they just not.
Right.
I mean, the LED lights are 50,000 hour lights. I mean, look at the LED lights we have today. They're just, I mean, we're running LED lights on the outside of the port right now. So I mean, and we haven't replaced them. What goes is the photo cell. And this is not gonna have a photo cell, this is gonna be a switch, right? Or a timer?
It will be both, we can either put it on a timer or we can put it on a photo cell. 50,000 hours is a lot of hours, because it doesn't run during the day. That's, you know, it's only gonna be at night, the light will turn off during the day, so.
This is just an aesthetics thing on my part, but I think it looks kind of cold. It just looks kind of sterile, like it had some wood trimmer on the outside of it, you know, and
You want to hear real fancy.
no, because how,
Wait till the lights come on. Wait till the lights, you see it lit up.
I just, geez, I'm just gonna bust my chops tonight.
Well, actually, this is gonna be seen from a distance, so you won't see the grubby building.
Is this gonna light up too
You'll
much
see-
of
you'll see
it?
the
Yeah,
light.
well, it'll
You'll
light
see
it
the
up.
light, the light, you'll see the light.
Is this gonna light up too much so that I can't sleep at night?
Well,
Yeah, don't you worry.
We'll buy you a shade.
We don't need approval from any other entity.
No, we don't.
Okay.
we
That
have-
was ratified by a Supreme Court decision last year, that we are under no codes, regulations other than state. This meets all state codes. As long as we don't put it facing the water and we create too much of a loom on the water, Coast Guard, we're fine. We had a sign here, okay? So all we're doing now is, and we all discussed this internally, it would look really, I think, nice, that's your decision, to have a nice sign, you know, that lights up, this is gonna be blue background, white letters, you'll see it all across the city, the bridge. I mean, the big thing is ID identification. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
you know, they're lighting the bridge
Oh, I
with
know.
lights.
And
I mean, the
lighting
church-
underneath the bridge,
Okay,
which
yeah.
is the dumbest, sorry. Instead of lighting the part where people are walking, let's light underneath it.
It, you know, you're talking about churches, my church, churches here, light up all the time. I mean, everyone says this beautiful lights downtown. Well, all we're doing is, this Port
Enhancing
Authority,
it.
it's a nice lighted sign, it's not gaudy, it's tasteful.
I'm good with this. I'm more interested in a big flag.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Is it passed? Did we make a motion on this yet?
No,
This is just a discussion here.
well, we can turn it into a resolution if you want. I mean, is this beyond my spending authority, right? Or is it?
I believe yours is what, 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
28.6.
See, I have to bring it to the board. If you want to do it, I can only go to 25. So if you're gonna go the extra $3,500, I have to have board approval.
Yeah.
So that would be
So
20.
Or we just do two signs. We buy one month, then we piece it together.
Or,
Yeah, two letters at a time.
all the O's and the,
Well, we can put it in
And the
here.
P,
I can have a
Turn it
motion
away.
to
Turn the letter over.
That's what I'm gonna
You
do.
can be Vanna White.
What do we do?
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna add this on at the end,
Sure.
as motion 2210, to approve the building sign.
yeah.
And then, you know, for the executive director to
Sure.
have the sign
I don't
made,
want,
approved, or whatever.
Okay,
authorize me to purchase the sign
Oh, yeah.
for the amount of $28,500.
I think it'll be great. It may be big, but I think it's not a bad idea.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Well, it lets the people know that we're
Yeah,
doing this.
that's fine.
And I'll make sure.
Well, aren't we saying with the,
Popeyes has a
our
big
biggest
lighted
thing?
sign.
We'll paint around it.
Okay, let's move on here.
Paint the
Are we
building
making
pink.
a motion on this?
Now, well,
No.
just wait now. We will.
Pink building.
It's at the end of the list.
Shut up.
Everything in order. Just let me
wanna
get
throw
through the
this
ones
out?
I have down here. All right, we have motion 1121-2208. This is a resolution to approve New York State DEC's use of port properties located on 1 West First Street, 11 Rear Lake Street, and 17 Lake Street, Oswego, New York, for the purpose of monitoring by use of a well, the brownfield runoff from Harbor View Square, Exhibit H.
I'm okay.
So, yes, so you see what they're gonna do, they're looking at this is all the runoffs from the Harbor View properties there, they wanna see, was a brownfield site,
Yeah.
and they wanna see what's up with that. Okay, and they're asking to use our property around there to do it.
Yeah.
So understand what they're asking?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion, Connie made a motion to move it, do I have a second? Diane, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, having been, when I was on the council, there was a residence hall that was supposed to have been built, and they had grant money, but they had to wait because it was a super brownfield. And what happened is that after they did all the testing cores, they found that there had been leakage from the Flexo site onto the front yards of the homes on West Second Street, across the street from where that is now. And they had to clean that up. They had to take care of that. So that's, yeah. Huh?
Well, I got it down.
So this is why DEC is into this.
Yeah.
I'm done. Mr. Who doesn't talk.
I was sitting next to
It's-
Diane,
it is-
because we're the
it is
bad
not
guys
us.
today. We're the bad people
Okay,
tonight.
so this is, and you guys are getting me lost here. This is for the motion for the DECs
Yep.
to be able to do it. So Connie,
Didn't take much.
Connie and Diane.
Connie, Diane
Connie,
did it,
Diane.
so anyone opposed to this? Okay, motion passes. Now, move on to the next motion is 11/21/2209. This is a resolution to authorize the executive director to execute the lease agreement with Dean Marine and Excavating, Inc. for the break wall project. Bill, got anything to say about this?
No, it's a negotiated contract, we're getting more money than we have in the past, plus storage. Rail cars actually are here towards the end of the month to store, so this is the West Breakwell project.
Okay, any questions on that? So,
Do we need to make a motion or anything?
we need a motion,
Yeah, I'll make a motion that
we need a
we.
second.
Second.
Committee, about time, you know, you raise your
Second,
hand.
yeah.
and then- All right,
I
second.
I'm not
remember
making any
any-
more motions or seconds.
Any objections on this?
No.
Okay, great, so that motion passes. And then we have a new motion here, this is motion 10/21/2210. This is to authorize the executive director to purchase our new Port Authority LED sign for $28,500. Is that correct for that amount? Okay.
28.6.
All right, I need a motion with that.
I make a motion that we accept the sign.
All right, I need a second.
Second.
Smitty, now you can't stop.
You're on a roll.
I'm on a roll here,
Okay,
okay.
any questions on that? Anybody,
Oh, be nice.
yeah, everybody, all in favor?
Aye.
Nobody objects? Then that motion passes, Bill, we can have our nice LED sign up there.
Yay.
And then lastly, motion 11/21/2211, that is to adjourn the regular monthly meeting.
At number 12,
That would be, no, that would
11.
be 11.
11, okay.
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
I wasn't gonna.
Okay.
Anybody opposed to adjourning?
Nope.
Great, we are adjourned.